If you had to fight an army of flesh-eating monsters, what would you do? This city is about to come under attack against hordes of creatures that will stop at nothing to kill this entire city. The only way to beat them will be by killing innocent children, outsmarting highly advanced killer robots, and defending our egos by leaving our members to die. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the monster hordes from hell in One Punch Man. These superheroes and citizens are going to watch everyone they love turn into flesh-eating creatures in countless monster attacks, starting in a few minutes. Saitama here is the world's strongest wannabe superhero that no one knows about. He walks home with his student Genos, running into another regular monster attack, or so they think. Mr. Stretchy Tongue Lizard Guy, looking for some poor woman to have its children. This creature terrorizes the public with his nasty tongue. These two want to help when the public spots their greatest savior, and one of the top ranking heroes in the city nearby, King. Everyone knows the terrifying rumors about him, and this villain quits being a bad guy immediately and begs for forgiveness. The crowd chants the death penalty, but King suspiciously says that he doesn't want to be a hero, hiding a dark secret. He quickly leaves to pick up his video game instead. Genos tells Saitama that King is known as the strongest man in the world, but he thinks the guy's acting strange. Suddenly, a second monster rips into the public. One attack right after the other. They realize this has never happened before. This robot declares that it's here from a mysterious organization, one that has already sent thousands of demons headed their way. It stops King in his tracks and tells him it's here to kill him. But King doesn't move, and just then, a rumbling sound is heard from within his body. The citizens think it's his famous King engine that is starting to activate. He's now entering battle mode.
What's up, guys? Do you love board games, but does the hustle and bustle of daily life keep you from actually sitting down and playing? Miss those nights sitting around the Monopoly board, hoping that your little brother will land on Boardwalk with 4 hotels? Well, let me tell you about today's sponsor. Introducing Monopoly Go, the game that makes life living as a billionaire as simple as rolling a die and maybe flipping a few virtual properties. Picture this. No more board flips or missing pieces. Monopoly Go is like the classic game you love, but with fresh modern gameplay. Quick 5 to 15 minute matches, reimagined visuals, iconic characters, and more. Monopoly Go is bringing classic fun to the modern era. Experience a new way to play Monopoly with visuals tailored to your phone. Collect property, build houses and hotels, and earn Monopoly money with gameplay fit for the modern age. With new opportunities every day. Participate in tournaments, the prize drop Plinko minigame, cash grab, and stay updated with hourly events for exciting rewards. So what are you waiting for? Ditch the ramen noodles and grab your virtual monocle. It's time to rule the Monopoly Go world. Install the game now using my link or scan the QR code on screen and unleash your inner tycoon. Remember, fortune favors the bold and those who click the link in the description. Remember, the path to riches is paved with virtual dice rolls and strategic property purchases. So download Monopoly Go today and let the tycoon in you run wild. And don't forget to use my link or QR code. It's how we rise to the top together. Now go forth, build your empires, and crush your opponents! Thanks to Monopoly Go for sponsoring this video. Now back to the show.
Nearby, Saitama and Genos watch the action. Genos says that King might be even stronger than Saitama according to the terrifying rumors. And this machine is at least a demon-level threat. Back to King. The robot says it's collecting fight data for the organization that it works for and wants King to put up a good fight until his death. He calmly says he needs to use the bathroom to pee or else he'll be only half as powerful. The robot agrees, but warns him if he's not back in 10 minutes, it will begin killing one hostage for every minute he's late. King hits the bathroom, but oh my gosh, he's actually shitting himself. And that was really his King engine in action. This guy's actually a fraud that just keeps running into monsters and somehow always magically gets away with it. Suddenly he realizes he knows how to solve his fake superhero problem in the most shameful of ways. Okay, yeah, this situation seemed hopeless, but I would come out of this alive by relying on my oral skills. Let me explain. We obviously can't beat this robot, but we can be sneaky as balls. I would appeal to the robot's own logic and programming against him. We know this robot is here to collect fight data. Knowing this, I would tell it the best way to do this would be by assessing the strength of the other heroes in the city first. Being ranked 7 means there's 6 others who are stronger than him right off the bat. Robots rely on logic. Because of this, I would state that it makes sense logically for it to go after the highest ranking heroes first. That way it will be able to collect the best fighting data that it can, and then it can come back to us later, if that's even necessary. But by that point, we'll be long gone or hiding under a rock. Because honestly, King is just a big baby, and that's what he does best. King readies his grand plan and bolts for the door, running away from his problems as usual, while seeing another actual hero fight his battles for him as usual. Genos tells Saitama not to help so he can get into the top 10 hero class rankings and deals with the robot. So Saitama heads home to chill in the middle of the public's frightening screams. Meanwhile, King finally reaches home, wanting to forget the day's horrifying events. He puts in his new game, and that's when Saitama Saitama appears through the window. King tries to act tough, but Saitama spots King's cute new game, freaking him out even more. He tries to play off that he got the wrong game, but Saitama wants to play too, gaming their boobs off. Saitama finally asks him why he ran away from the fight. He thinks it's because King is too strong and is actually bored fighting. And that's when suddenly emergency sirens blare across the city. A third monster appears blasting through the skies, and it cruises right into King's apartment. But Saitama stops it with just his hands, and he thinks King must be attracting monsters. And he asks him if he wants to join in on the fight, making him hesitate to reveal his dark secret. Finally coming clean, he doesn't have powers and is a total fake. Saitama beats the monster's head and tells King he should train to be stronger since everyone thinks he's a hero already anyways, and leaves him, saying he'll come back to play games later. Meanwhile, at the Heroes Association, the city's alarming news has just reached them and is not looking good, calling an emergency meeting, but they invite all the criminals instead. This leader tells everyone what's up because this threat is something no one has ever faced before. The number of tiger-level monster attacks have been more in the last month than in the last 3 years combined, and this is a sign of a horrifying prophecy coming sooner than they realize. The hero leader tells them they're about to make history because he wants the heroes and criminals to work together for the first time ever, or else humanity won't survive, and not even the greatest heroes known or unknown will be able to stop them. However, this guy, Sonic, tells him it's already too late and leaves to go handle his real target. While in town, this terrifying hero is also on a mission to find and kill the same person, Saitama. Back at the Heroes Association, the leader begs the criminals to help, just as this one white-haired person enters the room, Garo. But he's not interested in what they're talking about and dares people to come at him instead. The hero leader thinks he's weird and orders his bodyguards to kick him out, but that was his biggest mistake. They attack Garo but easily get killed. The prisoners cheer for Garo, but he says he's on no one's side. The final guy attacks him, but Garo cuts off his hand. The hero leader hides and calls for backup, just as he sees all prisoners in here have been brutally slaughtered. He warns this guy that he's done with his debut and will return in half a year when he's stronger, leaving the headquarters. He's on a mission to become the most lethal monster in the world. Back in the city, Genos links back up with Saitama, getting upgraded from his last robot fight. They find out that they've both risen up in the hero ranks. Suddenly, Genos hears something approach him at supersonic speed. He leaves his master to go investigate and try out his new robot upgrades. Heading out, he meets this stranger, Sonic, Saitama's worst rival. He's come to put an end to their rivalry, but Genos gets ready to stop him. Okay, I would take this guy out by calling his mother a dead cow, and by smelling like a dead cow, by using the power of the durian fruit. Genos sensed this villain in advance, and that means going to meet him head-on was stupid. These guys are relying on pure power way too much when strategy would have worked much better. Sonic is here for his mortal enemy, Saitama, which means he doesn't think too much of us, and is overconfident, which is how we beat him. His attacks rely more on close attacks that rely on speed, agility, and martial arts. This is why I would work to create a situation which favored our strength over his fighting style. However, to get close to him, I would use the same tactic that the Mongols used against European forces in 1241, when the smaller Mongol army lured the bigger European army into their trap by committing a tactical retreat, making them think they were hot shit until the Mongols pulled a fast one on them when they least expected it. I would go out to meet Sonic, pretending that I was injured and weak, making him think less of me and lure him into a false sense of security, exploiting his confidence. I would tell him that Saitama is in hiding and I'm the only one who knows where he is, before insulting the crap out of his mother, making him angry, and then doing a tactical retreat in the sky, making him chase us while we pick up a box of durian fruits readily available at many markets since it is popular in Japan, and I would crush it in my hand and bathe in their juices. Durian fruits, while delicious, are known to have the nastiest smell in the world, and have even been banned in certain areas in places like Thailand and Japan, since the smell has often been described as rotting flesh. Now that I smell like a fresh graveyard, I would then lure Sonic to an open field, reducing his advantage of speed in smaller areas. His confidence and now anger since we just insulted his mother means he would attack us relying on pure emotion. However, upon hitting us a few times, he's gonna quickly realize that we smell way worse than our insult to his mother, and it's this unpredictability and surprise that will make him even more unsettled, allowing me to get close to him and getting a hold of him, and then swiftly breaking his neck with our superior strength, all thanks to the mighty power of the durian fruit. Back inside, Saitama hears a knock from the door. This hero named Lady Fubuki tells him heroes need to join factions if they want to survive in this business, and offers Saitama a place on her team, but he thinks she's just scared he will pass her one day and politely says no. Furious, her men attack him, but he one-punch mans them away. Fubuki tries to beat him up just as Geno shows up, with this guy still on his ass. Speedosonic says he will kill Genos and then defeat Saitama. Genos defends his master using his new tech add-ons, but this guy uses a secret ninja technique, preventing Genos from seeing his movements. About to attack from above, Saitama saves Genos and tells both of them they've no reason to fight. Speedosonic doesn't listen and tries to come at him, but then Saitama uses serious side hops really fast, and he beats Speedosonic. Seeing all of this, Lady Fubuki realizes that he is much better than she thought. She confesses to him why she wants to team up due to her much more powerful sister and wants help surpassing her in strength one day, warning him that he will be unable to reach the highest rank as a hero unless he teams up in a group. Wanting to reach the top, him and Genos finally agree to join her, but as equals. King also stops by to pick up his game, shocking Fubuki that Saitama knows this powerful hero, and he also joins the squad. I think this guy's kind of confusing. Just then, this man Tronco shows up badly beaten with information about the hero hunter Garo. He says his master named Silver Fang also used to coach Garo, but he left 6 months ago and has been in hiding until now. Since the breaking news, Tronco's master beat him up and kicked him out of their dojo. Geno suspects Silver Fang is trying to protect him from running into Garo, since he is very dangerous, and the Hero Association has him on their most wanted list. Saitama thinks finding someone who is as strong as him might finally give his life some meaning, and makes it his mission to track him down. Later, Tronco takes a walk, all sad about leaving the dojo, but runs into Garo nearby. He runs into some heroes and prepares to brutally beat them up. Tank Top Vegetarian and the famous Moomin Rider. This guy charges at Garo, beating him up and making him bleed, but this only makes him excited and finally releases his true power, beating this guy nearly to death with ease. Moomin Rider uses his famous Justice Tackle move, but that doesn't do shit and gets his face casually smashed in, as Garo ends up beating everyone else, all the while as Tronco watches on the side in pure terror. Eventually, he does try to surprise attack him, but he also gets beaten very badly. Garo keeps going on his rampage, but then meets this random kid in the park, reading a hero fan book containing the names of all the fighters registered in the city. Garo starts using this kid's book to target all the city's top heroes. Meanwhile, Saitama goes to meet his buds at the hospital to get information on the hero hunter, finding out Garo is apparently just a human that is really good at martial arts, making Saitama curious about this fighting style. Tronco offers Saitama his ticket to a martial arts competition he was preparing for, saying he can go study the city's greatest fighters. He agrees, but secretly plans to compete in Tronco's place. But first, he goes to find a disguise, just as he runs into Garo. Not realizing who this is, Saitama tells him to buzz off, casually knocking him out while he buys a wig. The next day, Garo wakes up but can't remember what happened. Meanwhile, the Hero Association gets worried about Garo's hits and hires security to start guarding their top VIP bosses. This hero Metalbat gets hired to protect their boss, this guy and his kid, but that's when a new monster attacks and bursts in, firing off this sleep smoke, blinding everyone here. And then another enemy shows up, forcing Metalbat to get ready for combat while Garo nearby hears the shit show. Okay, well, it looks like we're screwed. I would save the day by ditching the innocent civilians and scaling this building like a monkey. Our main opponent right now is this guy, who has enhanced strength, can transform into a large centipede to enhance mobility and some combat capabilities, in addition to burrowing. But since we can't see him, we're already at a tactical disadvantage. If I was Metal Bat, I would leave our VIPs here first. I would head up to the rooftops, where we'll have a better vantage point of the situation and clearer visibility, and leave our VIPs here, which they'll likely be fine anyways, since monster Raffle Sidon here put them to sleep and darkened the entire area. Their tactics in this instance tells me they want to steal our guys, which means attacking them head on will be the only way to save them, and heading to the rooftop will instantly limit Senior Centipede's burrowing abilities. And since we rely on melee attacks at close range, from here I would work on making the monster come inside of our kill zone. First, I would antagonize it, running around the rooftops nearby and stay mobile while we analyze its attack patterns, speed, and agility. Once we understand it a little more, I would then quickly destroy a corner of this building between 1 to 4 floors in diameter, as this would create an uneven but spacious area of multiple floors, which we could surprise attack the enemy from, coming in from above on one of the floors the moment he came into our kill zone. And it would be at this moment that I would ride him like a cowboy at a bar, while staying low and crawling up to his head, and here's why. While many centipedes don't have true vision, this one has a mask, which I could use to bring it down by disabling its vision and forcing it to go crazy, giving us options if we wanted to go rescue our VIPs, or take down the flower power guy over here, or just get the hell out of Dodge, since we're basically a wannabe baseball player dressed up as a god against a garden bug. Metalbat barely carefully blocks the monster's attack, asking what they want, but they don't tell him. He focuses up and does manage to defeat them in combat, just as these two low-level heroes, Mohican and Class B Pineapple, shows up to help. These heroes realize that these two centipedes showing up at the same time means something dangerous is coming, just as a dragon-level disaster shows up. Elder Centipede. Metalbat yells at these two to go save the VIPs, and he quickly launches an attack, but gets violently swatted back right next to Garo. Garo uses this opportunity to challenge him to a fight. Metalbat realizes who this weirdo is from the news. Already injured, he tries his best, and the two equally butt heads until his sister shows up, getting annoyed he didn't pick up his phone. She bosses the boys around into quitting the match and forces Garo to leave. Now focused, Metalbat tries to go back to fighting the real monster, but his sister tells him to not go and accidentally knocks him out. Nearby, the lower C class heroes get wiped by Elder Centipede until a top hero shows up. Metal Knight. He attacks the centipede, but that's when everyone finds out that monsters are attacking every city in the country and humanity is about to be overwhelmed. Walking back, Garo runs into some monsters and they offer him to join the Monsters Association, but Garo isn't interested, which pisses them off. They warn him they'll see him again soon and take the son of the VIP as hostage. Having what they want, the monsters in the area order a retreat. Elder Centipede dives back into the ground, while Metal Knight tries to follow him, as more top S-class heroes finally show up to respond to the nationwide attack. Alright, now while this might seem like a shock, there were some obvious signs that shit was about to hit the fan way earlier, if they looked out for obvious signs. It was noted that the monster attacks recently have increased more in the last month than in the last couple of years, and within the last day, there's been several attacks in different areas with tactical retreats, with no apparent goal achieved. But that right there was the most obvious clue. If everyone paid closer attention, they could have realized what the monsters were doing was classic harassing tactics or hit-and-run warfare. This is a strategy where smaller groups of attackers often use guerrilla or skirmish tactics, repeatedly engaging a larger, more conventional force. The primary goal being to gather intelligence, noting down opposing forces' tactics, equipment, and strategy, while also delivering the most lethal damage in the form of psychological impact, making their victims psychologically weak, but also physically exhausted. By using deductive logic, observing constant attacks at random times in areas for no reason was the most obvious clue that these monsters were trying to test us and tire us out for something much bigger, and it's unlikely that this would have been their ultimate attack. Knowing this, I would have better directed the heroes and city defenses by analyzing the patterns of enemy activity to see if we could learn anything, even if the attacks were random, while also identifying critical infrastructure and key points of the city to defend. Because right now we have limited amount of heroes and military to defend, because we have to get ready for something that's much bigger and more horrifying that's headed our way. Meanwhile, far away, Saitama sneaks into the martial arts tournament under Tronco's name, finding out from another participant, Silverfang's former student Sourface. He says 6 months ago, the hero hunter Garo left their dojo when he thought he had nothing left to learn. The fighting tournament finally starts and goes through too many names to care about except these two, Bazookan and Suryu, the strongest ones here. Saitama gets put through the ringer, easily beating contestants left and right, with no effort at all the while as Genos watches. In the judges' room, they finally get word that monsters have surrounded the stadium and they don't know what to do. Bazookan thinks they should stay locked in here, where they'll be safe. Genos gets updated on the monster situation too and decides to go handle it, letting his master focus on winning the tournament. He leaves the stadium and tries to take down the boss, but easily gets destroyed again by something headed straight towards the stadium. Inside, Saitama reaches the finals, about to fight Suryu, and then he says he's come here to experience martial arts, but his opponents have got defeated way too easily. Suryu humors him and agrees to put up a good fight. They begin, and he attacks Saitama with only 50% power, but Saitama comes out of it with no fuss, and he finds out that he wants to be a hero, but Suryu tells him being a hero is stupid and he should just look out for himself, pissing Saitama off for the first time. His wig accidentally comes off. Saitama finally punches him softly one time to not end the match, knocking off Suryu's clothing and scares the shit out of him. He gets angry and unleashes his full power on him, but Saitama not doing shit. But that's when Saitama finally realizes that martial arts is basically art, but with cool moves, and tries spinning around in a cool way, and accidentally knocks Suryu back and knocks him out. The fighting organization realizes Saitama is not Tronco and try to catch him, forcing him to run away, and disqualified, while Suryu wins by default. But that's when monsters invade the stadium, including the one who beat Genos, Goketsu, a former human martial arts master of this tournament. He announces to everyone that they will be turned into monsters. The public hesitates, but he warns them they can all gain unimaginable powers by turning to the dark side or else they will all die, offering them these monster cells to eat. Wanting power, hundreds of humans eat the monster cells, becoming horrifying creatures in seconds. Goketsu tells Suryu that he can become even more powerful as a monster, but Suryu refuses because monsters are ugly, and he likes being pretty, pissing off Goketsu, and he beats him down down instantly. Helpless, he sees his teammate, Bakuzan, finally turn to the dark side and eats 3 monster cells, overdosing and passing out. Useless to him, Koketsu orders his minions to kill Suryu, right as these low-class heroes finally arrive to save the day. Suryu tells them they can't beat these monsters, but the heroes tell them they must try, breaking Suryu's mind with their selflessness. He rushes to escape just as Bakuzan jumps back up, now a full-on monster, and smashes him down. This monster scout arrives and tells Koketsu that the monster should retreat soon because the attack wave is over. Bakuzan tries to overpower Koketsu, but he shows him who the real daddy is, telling him he needs to go back or he will be overwhelmed by the incoming heroes as he leaves. But Bakuzan stays behind and gets ready to kill Suryu and makes him squeal in fear. But that's when Saitama shows back up and gives him the classic one-punch whoopah, saving Suryu. He updates Saitama on what's going on in the city. Saitama casually says he'll check it out, since he is still not satisfied with martial arts, and heads off in the monster's direction, coming back 2 minutes later with Koketsu's head. Disappointed, he tells Suryu that he only used one punch on him as usual. His selflessness inspires Suryu, who now wants to be a hero too. Saitama leaves back to the city, but finds out all the monsters left 30 minutes ago, and this was a coordinated attack. And then King shows up, hiding from all of the fighting. Saitama tells him his life problems. He's been bored since joining the Hero Association and not finding a worthy opponent. But this hero hunter Garo got him excited, and he wishes that he could find him. King gives him some big brother advice, and says that being a hero is about saving people, not fighting, and he must find out what being a hero really means to himself. Nearby, Garo comes back from getting defeated by Watchdog Man, a man-dog that ended up kicking Garo's ass, making him realize that he can't use human fighting on a 4-legged creature. But then he gets to learn from more heroes, just as he spots another hero on his list, King. He charges at him, but gets knocked back into the wall by Saitama at the last second, getting knocked out, while Saitama tells King that he hopes to meet the hero hunters soon, not realizing that every person Saitama has defeated in the past is coming back as a monster for revenge. Back at Hero headquarters, they realize that the monsters have now teamed up and they're all screwed. They wait to hear from them, since they have one of their VIPs, the son of a rich guy who sponsors their hero organization, and one of their employers enters the room, but he's been possessed by a monster named Gyoro Gyro. He tells them that they have a message to share, stating the humans have 3 days to gather their strongest heroes and to come save their VIP hostage, as their boss Lord Orochi will be waiting with their monsters for the ultimate death match. And just then the monster's eye explodes and the human host dies, leaving the Hero Association speechless. Back at the monster headquarters, the bad guys wonder where Koketsu is and send a scout to find him, but spot him dead as shit and wonders what hero did this, and they begin to think that the good guys aren't as easy as they thought. A little later, Garo wakes up and has no memory of what just happened. Now badly injured, he goes to find a place to rest, finding this abandoned house, but turns out this place belongs to the kid Garo hung out with earlier. It's their secret base. His friends bully him to make Garo leave, just as the area gets surrounded by heroes, and they declare that they've been tracking Garo and are here to capture him. Thinking fast, he asks the kids for his hero dictionary book and gets quick information on who he's about to fight and their powers. Okay, while it might seem hopeless, I would escape by relying on the losers of this hero group and use this kid as a shield of meat, and by leveraging my villain status by doing what villains do best, by taking a massive shit. As Garo, we could do anything if we were in tip-top shape, but we're not, which means we need to play it smart. From looking at the hero directory, we can tell these guys aren't S-class heroes, but them being tasked to find us means that either 1, there's no heroes left to catch us except them, or 2, these people have come here to catch us in order to make a name for themselves without alerting the main heroes, and this is a problem, because this means that it isn't just a job to them, but it's personal, which means they'll fight harder to stop us. In either case, we're outnumbered. Because of this, I would tell them I'm coming out in 5 minutes, and I'd come up with some sort of outlandish reason that would further make them think the worst of me, like maybe I'm taking a shit in the house without a bathroom, cause hey, I'm a bad guy. From here, I would use this time to knock this kid out, to use him as a shield of meat just in case. Heading out, I would make a dash to the outskirts of one of the enemy's defensive lines, like where one of the long-range heroes would be stationed, and reveal that we're holding a hostage. This would throw these two off guard, and them specializing in long-range attacks means we could easily knock them out while breaking through their defensive line and head into the forest. The dynamics of the group means that only the fastest ones, like the long-range specialists, would be able to keep up with us from here, and unlike their much more powerful partners like Death Gatling and Smile Man. However, the obstruction of the trees would prevent the long-range attackers from leveraging their skills. And now that we're separated from the main group, these two would be in an area not suitable for their strengths, and would leave them helpless against us, since strength at melee combat is not their specialty. And even if we didn't have a hostage to use as a shield of meat, from here I could either subdue these guys or run away straight up, because ultimately we got bigger problems than wasting our precious leftover energy on B-level heroes. Heading out, he tries to attack them but realizes he's weakened. He still laughs and says these aren't S-class heroes, but they tell him they've secretly come to capture him without the S heroes' help to prove their skills. They start firing their moves, but Garo still manages to break through their tactical formation, disposing each one swiftly, and then this one hero sends out an emergency beacon calling out for help. Death Gatling being the only one left, he aims his machine gun, but Garo tells him to stop because a kid is in the house. But he doesn't believe him and starts blasting. Garo blocks the attack, saves the kid, and he finally defeats him. After, the kid comes out, but now sees Garo as a monster and runs away. And just then, Geno shows up, responding to the backup call. Now fully restored from his fight with Goketsu, he's stronger than ever. Thinking fast, Garo acts like Watchdog Man from earlier, changing his movement patterns. He steals Genos' arm, but he pulls a reverse Uno and traps him into this tree. About to blast him, he breaks free. And just then, monsters surprise Genos, telling him they're here from the Monsters Association to recruit him. But Geno jumps back, pissed off. And even Garo's old master Silverfang and his friend Bomb show up to stop their former student. Double teaming and outclassing Garo. About to die, he gets rescued by the monsters. Back on the ground, Genos aims for Garo just as Elder Centipede shows back up. The gang gives everything they've got, but nothing works against it. Genos charges up, orally blasting it with his cannon, but gets spit out all used. Realizing this monster can't be stopped, the group grabs the heroes and makes a run for it, until King's voice is heard on a microphone nearby, calling out Elder Centipede. It tells him its mortal enemy, a hero known as Blast, is here to fight him. Seeking vengeance, it charges at King, about to kill him, right as Saitama arrives last minute to one-punch it into oblivion, saying he responded to the backup call and was worried about Genos. Far away, this bird monster tells Genos he'll go meet with their leader Orochi, as their kind plans to destroy the world.
But what do you guys think about the video? Let us know what you like about it and what you didn't like about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a thumbs up down below. And as always, don't forget to check out our How to Be playlist.